guys, it's Christina
and Malia
from Our Rich Journey. In today's video, we are going to be talking about investing. But what is so exciting about this video is we are going to be talking about investing as a younger person. I started investing when I was 30. I started learning about financial literacy, and in my 30s, I also became a millionaire. But I also think there are so many things that I wish I would have learned when I was younger. So these are things that I talk about all of the time with Sanoa and Malia. So we're really excited to share these 8 different things that I wish I would have known about investing when I was younger.
So, to give you some context, like my mom said, she's been teaching us about investing, about all the things that she wished she would have known when she was younger. I already have $25,000 in my own personal investing account, actually more than that, and I plan to become a millionaire in my 20s.
And what I think is so great about this is that Mel is only 13 years old. Like I said, I didn't start investing until I was in my 30s. When I was Mel's age, I didn't even have a savings account. So to me, it's so important to teach younger people how to invest, which is why we're so excited to make this video. So let's start off with the first tip that we have for younger investors.
The first thing is that you should start investing as soon as possible. I've been investing for several years, and I know that the sooner you invest, the more time you give your money to compound and grow. Here's an example. So I'm 13 years old right now. Let's say I plan to retire at, say, 70. If I invest just $2 per day until I turn 70, I'll have almost $1.7 million. And in total, that's a little over only $42,000 invested. But if I start at 40 and I invest the same amount of money each year, I'd only have $122,000.
So the next tip is that saving should not be the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal should be investing. So like I said, when I was Mel's age, I did not even have a savings account. But by the time I reached high school, I had opened a savings account, and I thought that the whole goal should be to save as much money as I could. I had no understanding of investing, and this is a mistake. Savings and investing should be coupled together with the ultimate goal of investing as much money as possible. And this is because if you are just saving money, the money that you have in a bank account can't even keep up with the rate of inflation.
So speaking of inflation, your dollar today won't be worth as much in the future. Let me give you an example with housing. So in the 1950s, the median home value in the United States was only $7,354. But today, the median home price in the US is about $400,000.
And this is why it is so important to have the ultimate goal to be investing. Because with investing, not only can you keep up with inflation, but you can beat the rate of inflation as well. And the third thing is that you are not too young, too uneducated, too anything to begin investing. Like I said, I didn't begin investing until I was in my 30s, but I always imagined it was someone that had to be super smart, that had to have already a ton of money, and that they had to be much older to begin investing or to even understand investing. But that is not the case.
So that is so true, because I started learning about investing, and I even opened my own investment account before the age of 10. So me and my sister even have some videos on this channel where we talk about our investment account and investing in general.
So like we said, investing can be at any age, and brokerage firms actually have specific types of brokerage accounts for people that are even under 18 years old. They're called custodial accounts, and it can be a custodial standard brokerage account, or it can be a custodial IRA. So those are definitely options, even again for people that are under 18 that want to invest. So the fourth thing that I wish I would have known is I wish I would have known more about index funds versus individual stocks. So there are a ton of different types of investments that you can make when you're investing in the stock market, but I want to focus on 2, which is the index fund and the individual stock. Because a lot of people, when they begin investing, I think that's the first thing that they think about. They think about investing in individual stocks. And so when I was Mel's age, I had no concept of really even an individual stock, but I had absolutely no concept of what an index fund was. So an index fund is a basket of investments that track a particular benchmark or index. So for example, the S&P 500 is an index. It lists the 500 largest companies in the US stock market.
So if you decided to invest in the S&P 500 index fund, you would own a portion of the top 500 largest companies in the US stock market.
And this is really huge because with an index fund like this means that you get to own all of those 500 companies just by investing in something like an S&P 500 index fund. This is very different than investing in individual stocks, because if you invest in an individual stock, you may only own maybe 5 or 10 individual stocks. But by investing in an index fund, you get to own so many more stocks at the same time.
And this is so important because by owning more companies, you're spreading out the risk of your investments.
So I'll give you an example to illustrate the importance of this. So let's say you invest in individual companies and you invest in something like Tesla, Netflix, Amazon, and Google. Now, let's say those companies, for whatever reason, perform really poorly. Then you're stuck with a portfolio that has significantly decreased in value. But let's say that instead of investing in those 4 individual companies, you invest in the S&P 500 index fund. Those companies are already part of an S&P 500 index fund, but if those companies do poorly, you have over 490 other companies that could be doing well, which could grow the value of your portfolio. Now, we're talking about the S&P 500 index fund, but there are so many other index funds to choose from. There's actually a total stock market index fund where you can invest in this index fund and own a portion of every single company in the US stock market. There's also sector index funds that focus on different sectors like healthcare or technology. But the general idea is that by investing in an index fund, you can own so many other companies combined versus investing in individual stocks.
The next thing that you should know is that when you're investing, it's best to automate your investments.
And what we mean by this is that you can set up your accounts so that you're making automated investments every single month, meaning that you don't actually have to go into your account and make your investments. It happens automatically.
And this is important because when you automate your investments, it makes you less likely to spend your money on frivolous things.
So by automating your investments, you're prioritizing your investment accounts, and you're also forcing yourself to make these automated investments where you're not going into your portfolio and checking the volatility of your portfolio every single day. There's a lot of emotion that can come with investing, and if you're going into your account and making adjustments or looking at it every single day, you could do something that could be potentially disastrous to the growth of your portfolio. So not only does automating your investments help you prioritize your investment accounts, but it also helps to remove some of that anxiety that investors have when they see the volatility in the stock market.
And the next thing that you should know is that you need to establish clear, concrete financial goals. I'm only 13 and I already have a financial plan that's established clear financial goals.
So this is really important because we always say when you are investing, you must invest with a plan. And your plan should always contain your goals, but your goals have to be very specific. So you have to understand, why are you investing in the first place? Do you want to reach $1 million, $5 million, $10 million? And what time frame do you want to reach that? And also, if you have specific goals, how will you reach that? How much money should you be investing every single month in order to reach your goals? Now, by writing down your concrete goals and having a plan for how you can reach them, you're much more likely to follow through with that goal and to achieve those goals. So the next thing to know is that as a young investor, you don't necessarily have to have a super conservative portfolio. And this is because you can have decades to grow the wealth in your portfolio. There is a lot of volatility in investing in the stock market, and sometimes people add bonds to their portfolio in order to level out that volatility. And so when you add bonds, you are creating a more conservative portfolio because bonds typically have lower returns than stock investments. But at the same time, bonds are used to reduce some volatility in the stock market. And so when you add bonds, you're creating a more conservative portfolio because you don't like that volatility. But when you're investing for decades, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40 years, as you invest for a longer period of time, that volatility reduces. So for younger investors who have decades and decades worth of time to invest, they can adopt a more aggressive approach to investing.
So in my case, I have an aggressive portfolio. I only invest in the S&P 500 index fund, and I don't invest in bonds.
So let's move on to our last thing that you should know, and I think this is super important. And this thing is that you can start with any amount. Any amount is good to get started with. Sometimes a lot of people think, well, maybe I'll start investing when I'm older, when I'm making more money, when I can have enough money to invest. But any amount is a good amount to get started with. And I'll take you back to the example that we talked about at the beginning of this video when Mel was talking about being 13 years old. If she invested just $2 a day all the way up until the time she turned 70, she would have a portfolio of almost $1.7 million. That is just $2 a day. And there are investments that you can get started with just $1 a day.
So along those lines, if you only had $1 to invest and you decided to invest in the total stock market index fund, you would own a portion of every company in the US stock market.
So those are our 8 tips to you if you are a beginning investor. These are things that I wish that I would have known when I was younger. These are things that I share with Mel so that she can develop a proper portfolio that will help her grow her wealth. So I hope these things will definitely help you as you begin to develop your investing plan and as you begin to grow your investment portfolio. So of course, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and join the journey.